Some people believe that the reason why certain individuals commit violent crimes is because they play violent video games or they watch violent movies or violence on television. These same people believe that the increase in the realism of video games has actually led to people thinking that these video games are real life and then in turn committing these violent acts. I disagree. I feel that people are already violent. They're already predestined to these violent actions, and they just decide to play these violent video games as a way to express their violent behavior. So the question is whether or not whether or not the games are violent or they're getting more violent, it's whether or not it's actually causing violence in real life. There are many reasons why people may think this. For one, the people against the whole video game violent behavior thing has actually gotten a lot of support from the United States government. In 1994, in fact, members of Congress actually pushed for a rating system similar to what movies have had for a while. Senators Joe Lieberman and Herbert Kohl told the video game companies that they better voluntarily make a rating system or the government will make them. Game companies later introduced a rating system that's similar to the MPAA's rating system for films. Some local governments have actually passed various laws that are cracking down on the sale of violent video games in their different precincts. For example, in 2000, the Missouri St. Louis County Council, they passed a law that was saying it was unlawful to sell a mature-rated video game to someone that was under 17. This was later shot down in a court, simply the fact that they said that the wording of the law was unconstitutional, but there were laws later on that came around to say that it was lawful. Playing violent video games have been said to lead to psychological behaviors that cause violent actions. Similar violent behaviors were found in a study that was researching the effects of violence in TV and violence in real life. Some of these behaviors include increased physical arousal and physical aggressive behaviors. These behaviors include hitting, pulling hair, slapping siblings in the face, various things that have actually been recorded and put on the internet as reasons why they're doing this, because they play violent video games. Experts have also discovered strong links between violent video games and aggressive behavior. The Associated Press article asked if video games are teaching kids to do more than just act violently. They say that it's actually teaching kids to kill. Concerns of this matter has actually increased tremendously since the 1999 shootings at Columbine High School, when the kids said that they had played a lot of Doom, and so many assumed that this was because they played a violent video game and they opened fire at their high school. Video games do have many effects on the general public, but being the sole cause of violent behaviors is just simply not one of them. Video games have a major impact on our economy. In 2008, the video game industry actually rose a $21.33 billion. That was an increase from the year before, where they only were able to gain $18 billion. Large increase. And the recession has not even slowed down the video game industry at all. In January 2009, they saw a 13% increase over the previous year. When asked about this particular phenomenon, a MPD analyst, she said that even in the tough economic times, a 13% increase over the previous year is showing that video games simply aren't slowing down, and they're actually one of the more powerful home entertainment industries in the United States. The Entertainment Software Rating Board, or the ESRB, has had many strides to perfect the rating system that they included a while ago. And retailers have actually implemented this system in their stores, causing prompts to come up when they ring out a mature-rated video game saying that they have to check ID. But the problem comes in the fact that cashiers can simply press a button and bypass that altogether. So the ESRB does have a foolproof system to rate games, not foolproof by any means, but their actual system is having a board of raters that have an unbiased opinion of video games because they don't play them. They're simply looking for the effect of these video games on the individuals. The board then gives the game a rating. An E for everyone, meaning it's a fair game. A T for teen, which means that they have to be 14 or older. Mature meaning 17 or older. And in the rare case, an A for adult, which very rare you have video games down that. There's also some variations to this, including an E10+, which means you have to be older than 10, but it's still kind of inclusive for everybody. Video game defenders also say that the studies are saying that violent behaviors are linked to video games is just not valid. They say these experts that claim that they don't play video games, so they don't understand the relationship between video games and real life, and they can't obviously correlate. Video game defenders also point out that these particular people simply are just committing violent crimes, but they were already violent, and they just choose to play these violent video games as a way to express their violent behaviors. Video games also have very positive positive side, not just for pure entertainment. Some of these have uses in the medical rehabilitation field. Researchers also found that video games can be used to treat people with visual problems, such as ADHD, where they are giving the kids something to stimulate them and not just reading books. Video games also have many other practical uses. NASA is using them to study biofeedback and the hand-eye coordination of fighter pilots. And some doctors even use video games as a way to strengthen their hand-eye coordination because they have to use a joystick-like device and delicate procedures. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say that I feel that violence is not coming strictly from people playing violent video games or playing watching violent movies, but it's more of they're already violent and expressing it. I feel that comes down to the parents to monitor what their kids are buying, and they have to actually stand there, and if their kids are underage, have to be present and buy the game for them. And there actually just needs to be a way to any individuals that are actually disturbed in any way to not be able to purchase these video games even if they are old enough, because it is promoting the violent behaviors.